Okay, so section 3.5 is on dividing integers. Just like when we talked about subtracting is adding the opposite, well, division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So since it's the same as multiplication, all the rules that we looked at in the previous section apply. So we're just looking at the number of negative signs as we go through, and if there's an odd number of negative signs that we're multiplying together, it's negative. If there's an even number of negative signs, it's positive. So, and I can't stress this enough, as long as you pay attention to the operation is addition or subtraction, multiplication or division. That's what I mean by operation. If you pay attention to that and you're doing the appropriate set of rules, you'll be okay. The problem is that you will forget what you're doing and you'll apply the wrong rules to the wrong operation. So when you're doing these problems, it might be beneficial to write the problem out horizontally so that you can type it into your calculator properly. They give you problems both in the horizontal and in the vertical in this section. And you really don't have to write it out horizontally, but when given a problem like this, for some reason, people like to type in the denominator before the numerator. And actually, it would probably be a problem like this that they will type in the denominator first because they see that that's the largest one and they think they always have to have the largest one first. Well, maybe in previous years, because you guys didn't deal with decimals or fractions, I think you have, but I think you just get in your mind that the largest number has to be typed in first, and that's not always the case. So depending on your preference on how you want to look at these problems, you can set up the horizontal so that it is in vertical fashion. That's the way I like to see it. If you have it set up horizontally, go ahead and plug it into your calculator just as you see it with parenthesis signs and everything. If you type it in exactly how it looks, you'll have the right answer. So we have a positive and a negative. So I know my answer is going to be negative. I'm going to put that down right away. Now I'm just going to work with the integer parts. 80 divided by 10 is 8. Over here, we have a negative divided by a positive. Answer is negative. 11 goes into 55 5 times. Over here, if I write this out horizontally, I will write it out like this. I'll put parentheses around the negative part, have the division, and 55. And my answer on my calculator will be minus 0.20. If you work it out vertically, you're going to get a minus because there's one negative sign, and you're going to get 1/5. More than likely, you'll take 11 into 55, and it reduces down to 1/5. So nothing new, just that we're changing the operation from multiplication to division. If they give you a problem where there's a variable in it, you'll see there are 2 negative signs in this problem, but we don't look at the negative signs until we've actually simplified things down when we're going to go and substitute in. So if I say t is equal to -6, I'm going to rewrite this substituting in that t value. So I'm going to have 8 minus a -6 divided by a -2. Negative and a negative is going to make a positive. So 8 plus 6 is 14. See, we're doing a subtraction, so we're going to add the opposite of a -6, which is +6. Both numbers are positive, so our answer is positive. And we're going to keep the -2 on the bottom. Now the operation that we're doing is division. So now we're counting the number of negative signs. We have a positive number and a negative number. and we're going to get a negative. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So make sure to simplify down either your numerator or denominator first before counting positive and negative signs. And of course, story problems, right? The average temperature in January for North Pole, Alaska is a negative 24 degrees. Use this expression, 9C plus 160 divided by 5, to find the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. So we know the Celsius degrees here, negative 24. We're going to plug that into this formula. 9 times a negative 24 plus 160, and then we're going to divide it by 5. So once again, we're going to simplify it down first. 9 times negative 24 is a negative 216 plus 160 over 5. So you can see that I'm showing my work. My first step that I did was 9 times negative 24. I wrote down that number. Then I added the 160 divided by 5. So the next step that I'm going to show is what I actually get when I add 216 and 160. And that's negative 56 divided by 5. And then my last step, I'm going to divide by 5. And I get negative 11.2. So a negative 24 degrees Celsius is equal to a negative 11.2 degrees Fahrenheit. And I probably should have a C after this to know that's Celsius. Okay, that is it for the lesson. Because we already just did the multiplication one, I don't want to go on. It's just count the number of positive and negative signs.